If you pull a Dumbo, you've done incredibly well. Hi everyone, welcome to Get Your Deck Out. It's me, Old Emo Dave. I'm here with 11's MTG. We're here to talk to you about 60 card constructed formats, all the good stuff to do with TCGs, and everything we've been getting up to with our decks out on the table. Scott, summer's over, we're into September, and we've probably just seen, hopefully, the back end of Vivi summer. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, back end of summer, I've got ill immediately, so if you like gravelly voices and me complaining a lot, then this is going to be the episode for you. But yeah, back end of Vivi autumn, Vivi summer, something like that. But if they don't make any changes till November, it probably will just be Vivi autumn as well, right?
Yeah, I think we absolutely could be seeing Vivi autumn. We asked people on the socials actually just yesterday what was more boring, Nadu summer or Vivi summer. We've had some results in of like 21 votes, so not terrible number. Where like also including Seal results as being, I'm not positive either way. We had like 52% people say like Vivi summer was worse than Nadu summer. Which
you had more options with Nadu, right? Where Nadu was obviously the best thing. It had a high win rate, but I don't think it felt quite as polarized and quite as hostile. Like Modern as a format has a lot of depth where if you really want to target something and really attack something, you can really go over the top attacking it. But that was the issue with Nadu, was if you wanted to really attack Nadu, first of all, how do you even do it? And then you just lose to every other deck, and it feels like unless you're playing Razorkin, Needlehead, and Hired Claw, then there's not much point doing anything else in Standard.
No, it feels that way. Absolutely does. And obviously, we are talking about Orlando Spotlight Series, which is just completed. What we are about to say is congratulations to Brennan Roy for actually not playing Vivi and winning the whole thing. Friend of the show, friend of the Stanley 2099 Discord. I'm just happy that it wasn't Vivi that won the whole thing. But the Mono Red deck is super well teched for the Vivi deck. It plays well into the wider meta, which is, I think, why like it's definitely got legs to now kick on from here, because
Brennan's list especially was really aggressively tuned to beat Cauldron and Dimir specifically. Just wasn't concerned with any of the other category whatsoever, and I think played Cauldron 13 times over the weekend and went 11-2 against it. So
yeah, and it's not a slam dunk. I will say that someone obviously played on the weekend, and I had some success on the weekend too. Shout out Fire Shoes for helping me do that. But you win a lot because you just beat them before they do a thing, and the consistent threats. I think the Ember Heart Challenger was probably the Pierce de Resistance, which like put the deck above like Willie Adel came in at 9th. Again, amazing show in there. We had a couple of other previous Hall of Famers doing really well with this deck. And I think the lacking in difference was just like where like some of those decks fell over with misses off the top of the deck. With an Ember Heart Challenger, you do get to activate the Rockface Village, and at least get an impulse draw and maybe swing for lethal or burn for lethal in some of those close matchups.
I mean, we saw it in the final, right, where it was Ember Heart Challenger, Rockface Village, it flip another Ember Heart Challenger, and that was lethal.
Yeah.
Obviously, Brennan had a million outs there. It wasn't weird that it was specifically lethal from hitting another Ember Heart Challenger, but it shows the power of the card even without the mice package around it.
Yeah, no, totally. And something I'm learning, obviously, with our road up until our own Spotlight Series in Liverpool, if you're going, let us know. We'll see you there. Is that if you're going to play aggro, you need to be playing to outs. You need to be playing off the top of your deck, and you need to be playing percentages. You need to potentially be holding back to set up for a wider swing later, protect yourself against the board clears, like you know, the fire magic for one against the Vivi mirror, against the Vivi game is like a killer because you just lose that very threatening board. And but Brennan came on top. unfortunately, whereas we thought this could be a whole episode where we're recapping the New Dawn and like the pros have broken it, we haven't seen that. And there's not much for us to talk about other than Vivi did as expected. Barely anything else had results. But Mono Red is pretty good again.
Yeah, if it wasn't Cauldron, it was Mono Red, basically, where day one metagame, I think Vivi was about 30%. Day two, it was 54%. So
it's crazy.
It showed a really good day two conversion. Mono Red showed a really good day two conversion as well. Dimir midrange fell quite heavily, but I mean, I said it 3-4 weeks ago that I don't like the deck very much. I don't think it's doing anything particularly special. It's just people see cantrips and trinkety creatures and absolutely can't help themselves. It's the same reason why people, me included, still try and play Snapcaster Mage in Modern.
Yeah. But it just also dies to like Dimir's fine, but like when you come up against anything like Pixie adjacent, like you're one creature into two creature in all the time, aren't you? And it's just yeah, maybe it was like a hangover, right? Kaito's a really good card, like as we all know, and maybe
Kaito's fantastic, and Enduring Curiosity is really good as well, but it's 4 mana.
Maybe it's just the hangover of these are good cards, and whilst no one else is innovating, they were hanging around. But we have purposely held off recording as usual. I think it's become our normal slot, but our main reason for recording,
just in case,
is to just double check. So we've got a bit of a slot where we're recording on the Monday, where either they would have just announced something, or by the time we finish, they will have announced something. So on the basis we still believe this means that we're going to be living for this for a minimum of another cycle, I think it's time if people are going to just have to really understand the mirror, or we're going to have to see some major metagame adjustments to like fight Vivi's existence.
Yeah, I think in the short term, like up until November, they've been pretty adamant and pretty straight up with the fact that they don't want to change anything until then as a minimum. But what shows how bad it's got is I was watching the top 8 with my partner who plays Modern, keeps vaguely aware of what's going on in Magic, but isn't as terminally online as some of us, doesn't care about Standard, hasn't played an RCQ, may play one at some point, but it will just be hand me a deck and I'll see what I can do. And she was like, oh, I've heard about Vivi Cauldron. I've heard you guys talking about it, and it's obviously a problem. So what does it do? And I was like, well, it does the Vivi Cauldron thing. And she was like, okay, that sounds like quite powerful with stock up. And it's like, yeah, but it's also just, it's a thinly veiled Profts Tersa Mako deck where they're not actually playing cards that don't really do anything, because Soul Cauldron's flaw is sometimes it gives you 1/1 counters, it's a bit of graveyard hate, or your opponent dares to play a Draconautics Engineer and you just untap and kill them because of your Soul Cauldron. It's the fact that it's got this combo in it where it can just go completely over the top of everything, but it's also, even if you ban Vivi or Cauldron, so you take that interaction out of the deck, it's probably still one of the best decks in the format just by being a Profts and or Artist Talent Mako Tersa deck.
Well, I just remember, like we were looking when people around our play groups are scrabbling around to try and build this deck for upcoming RCQs, and I was just actually looking at it. I was like, this is Jeskai Oculus, but dropping the Oculus, dropping the Helping Hand, and just putting in Vivian Cauldrons. So like personally was incredibly close to just having the deck, and I was then reminded that ultimately, like, I didn't always win with Oculuses on the board. Like, Oculus was the threat, but often I won with a fear of missing out, and a Profts and a Terza. Like,
you probably remember when I played Oculus. I think
there's videos on the channel. I borrowed
either yours or Sarge's list, I think, and every single time I walked outside in between rounds, people go, "Oh, how's the deck going?" And I'd say the worst thing in this is helping hand Oculus. I just want to play Mako, Fear of Missing Out, Proph's Eidetic Memory, Steam Core Scholar, basically.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt playing the deck then, and that's without Vivi and Cauldron, which is, it's weird to say, but significantly better than Oculus.
Yeah, and obviously people have like talked. There was the SCG YouTube just to like genuinely call like that out for like coverage quality. Like we are back to top tier in respect of like watching Magic and passively having it on. Fantastic commentary. Reed and Jim and Corey, the LAI, they're just great. It's a great setup, great interviews, great when it was then getting interesting, like panning back and forth between key games, like spot on.
Had a couple of teething issues, but then anyone who's tried to do anything tech where you need to keep it running for multiple hours and you need to keep everything running smoothly, things are going to happen. You're just going to have issues, and like at the Pro Tour, it's pretty rare at this point. But then I think the people that they've got working in the back room for the Pro Tour are people who've done like NFL and stuff like that. They're like genuinely the high up in the market in terms of video quality and live events where you don't get much better. And I was listening to, it was Unsleeved when Cedric was on it, but he was talking about how you get sent an Excel spreadsheet and your schedule is broken down like to the minute. And at all times, he's got someone in his ear telling him exactly what's going to happen, exactly where we're going to go next, what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to go back to the desk now for a bit. We've got a small tech issue here. We're going to go here so we can sort it out, just fill time. All of that. It's unbelievably professional.
And what we'll tell you at home is anytime you think they should just do coverage, even what we do takes 4 people, right? So when you see us scuff DIY setup,
that's 4 people doing 13, 14 hours work.
Yeah. So
and working hard for that whole time.
So when they manage to do it well like that, big respect, big shout out for like the coverage elements. And it's just a shame that the deck's overwhelmingness maybe kept people away. Some people were still at home, like myself. I was at home farming packs on Arena because obviously we're far, far away. And obviously this current crazy meta and the fact that we've got socials means I was able to pick up the mono red deck and go absolutely wild on Arena this weekend. Again, shout out Fire Shoes for his run. I just copy pasted and I think I finished like 107 packs on the weekend. With like a Z, I would maybe like down 500 gold. For those of you who don't play Arena, that's their currency. If anyone wants to know what 100,
that's 5 packs. That's 5 packs worth of gold.
And anyone who wants to know what 107 packs would have cost me, something like 140 quid is how much that would have cost in things. So I feel good. I feel good.
That says more about the Arena economy than your performance. But
yeah, correct. Yeah,
you did do very well. And looking at the list, a couple of things I suggested you try. I know you said you copied Fire Shoes, but I'm glad that we're on the same page in terms of how you can look at some of these decks. It's not standard mono red that we saw Brennan playing. It's more spellsy. It's a little bit more burny and more pingy almost, but you've got 2 Odoraxinil in here. Just go ham. 4 mana. If you untap with it, you are dying.
And do you know what? Like, it has so much other utility about it being the threat. So you drop it on 4. They do nothing with it. You could even at minimum hit them with a 4/4. Which if they deal with it, they also ramp you, because it becomes a land. And it just feels like two feels perfect because you have no sort of draw discard here, so like you can't like loot it away in any shape or form. But I was playing, so like the lead up to this weekend, I was playing the actual dragons build, so that's the Sarkhan the Sarkhan build with like the 8 dragons. I still think that's a pretty decent build because I think that's the one that Willie was on as well. And that again really cool with the ramp, and we were like just sort of saying in like the Discords, like, why are we just not playing some Sacred Foundries to like do the other thing? I guess the answer was the other thing is a 6 mana creature, which you don't get to do that much. Whereas
Sure, but it's such a low chance that, like, just chuck 2 Sacred Foundries in and, oh no, you take an extra damage off your Sunspine Links. There's so many decks that you're the aggro deck against, and speaking from experience from playing Jeskai with Pyromancer's Goggles, the threat of just casting a Twin Maw Stormbrood, if you get to that point in the game, it is humongous, and you gain so much life.
yeah,
I haven't been diving super deep into Standard. I've been mostly just keeping abreast of it online. I haven't played a huge amount of it because I've been extremely busy, but I like the look of this deck. It's doing some stuff.
Well, the Scalding Viper, I called it. I was referencing it all weekend. The Viper Razorkin lock, because like the splash here feels great because yes, you bounce a Cauldron, you bounce a big thing that's getting counters. Like
you get to almost play into the Flood more, right?
It's an expense.
It's just stapled onto a creature that you'd play normally.
Yeah, so utility enter the Floodmaw, and then you play a Scalding Viper with Razor King Needlehead down, and like ultimately, even if they can deal with you, like they're gonna be wasting the utility on like 2/2s, 2/1s, but they're also gonna be pinging themselves because they're going to play a spell to get the removal. Then they might have to untap to go to the Razorkin, which means they're going to ping you. And very, very often, yes, you end up having the Ojita and the Oja. I keep forgetting. I'd say Ojati.
No, Oja Axonil, I think it is.
I just say the big red pinger. The big red pinger on the board to do work. Not forgetting Screaming Nemesis, and obviously the flip to the Witchstalker Frenzy, because there's nothing sweeter than you're not going to take the 3, you're not going to block my Witchstalker. I'm also now going to just fireball you for 5 because I'm going to kill my own. It's just a beautiful interaction. I also like call out why they are obviously leading towards this deck. I actually went and did a raid draft on Friday night, so I got a chance to go and draft in Cardiff Town in Rules of Play. Shout that out. I actually drafted 2 Nova Hellkites. Like, the deck was cracked, absolutely gas, fantastic run I had there, and I feel like I've just literally been.
That's quite easy with 2 Nova Hellkites, to be fair.
Yeah, just Nova Hellkite.
Untap, play another one. Yeah, untap, play my first one of Warp. Untap, play the second one of Warp.
I've reached 3 mana and I'm just winning the game. It's just was pretty good. I love the setup of this deck. I feel it's really well positioned, and also it is really well positioned into the rest of the meta. I added a couple of Ghost Vacuums. People love doing reanimator stuff on the internet, so that's one thing it's not the best into. It also helps with Vivi as well. But outside of that, pretty much stock. I'd probably, if I go back, I'd reconsider the Opera Love songs. They weren't bad, but they didn't necessarily win me the game, whereas Obliterating Bolt would have probably stopped me from losing in that spot.
Sure.
So, great run. I'm super glad. Anyway, if again, people who have seen this now see us because they saw us online, you can go back on the VOD on the channel. I did play it a little bit, and we'll probably run it a little bit more this week, streaming over on the YouTube and the Twitch, and we finally sorted the TikTok out. The TikTok stream is also working as well. So, but yeah, I love the deck.
All of the Zoomer platforms.
All of the Zoomer places you can watch us, but not on Kick though. It's kind of a little bit shady over there. A little bit shady.
I mean, I can get angry and start doing some pretty bad punching in the middle of a ring, but
yeah, we won't help that. We won't help promote them over there. But really, really well positioned. Obviously, taking it through to our RCQs locally over the weekend. Now totally calling myself out. #scouted. This is why I now turn up with Simic Burn and destroy you all, and you don't know what is coming.
Simic Burn.
Simic Zoo, another deck. If you want to watch the stream, if you want to watch the stream, you'll see us play. But
yeah, I think that one's significantly worse. But
yeah, not in the same league. But it is gotta be mentioned that we did see a significant drop in numbers for this event. And obviously we've joked
we 600 odd or something, I think it was.
Yeah, it didn't even break 700. We had over 1100 for the previous one. I wasn't around you in like GP days, Scott, so like what was fluctuation in numbers like then?
Higher. I think the biggest GP ever might have been a GP Vegas. I think it was about 4,000 in the main event.
But did then we also see like 1,000 GPs like the couple of weeks after, or
you'd see like 1,300 in certain places. So if it was a place that was harder to get to, maybe like the center of America, something like that, where it was on an inconvenient weekend where not many Americans would travel to it and it's not easy for international people to fly to. But generally, like UK, European GPs both did really well. Asian GPs in particular did fantastically every time. And I think a certain amount of it is because of how much they've driven people towards just playing on Arena. And it's like in the world, especially as well, money's tight, travel's expensive, everything's more expensive, and also standard decks are more expensive. Vivi Cauldron on Arena costs the same as any other deck, whereas in paper, Vivi Cauldron's what, like $400-500?
yeah,
Like
I think on current price market it would be about, even with base arts, would be somewhere around 400 to 450, and I just sort of like look at those numbers, and I know there's been a lot of discourse about like I stayed away because of Vivi and things like that, and I'm not going to take away from the fact that I think that's almost certainly right for, let's say, about 30% of the drop, maybe.
Yeah, I think it definitely drove some people away of, oh, well, why the hell am I going to bother playing a one deck format? There's if you're a competitive player, you should either be playing a deck that absolutely demolishes Vivi or playing Vivi. And then if you haven't put the work in to find what beats Vivi and you're just looking from an external perspective, especially with what social media is like nowadays, Reddit especially, as much as I use it, I go on it quite a lot, and it's how I keep abreast of things happening. So many people on there think the sky is falling as soon as a deck hits 15% of the meta. And there's always going to be a best deck. There's always going to be something that you think is bullshit that other people think is fine, and you can't understand why. Like me personally, if you held a gun to my head and said ban one card out of Modern, it wouldn't be anything out of Boros Energy, I'll tell you that for free. It'd probably be Kozilek's Command, just because I think the card does way too much and it's over the top. But I'm sure people would call me an idiot for having that perspective. But with Standard, that's not to say that Vivi's not a problem and something shouldn't happen in November, but more people were playing Abrade, more people listened to me, where you can do things to beat it. And I understand that Brennan is a really, really good player, and he obviously knew exactly how to play them against Vivi, and exactly how to play the mirror and how to play against Amir, and knew what he was doing, and is a very, very good player. But it is beatable. He went 11-2 against it.
Yeah.
Some of that is going to be skill diff. Obviously it is. Some of it is going to be. But not all of it. And would it be annoying if it was a 2-deck format where it's you beat the Vivi decks that are tuned to beat Vivi, and you lose to the Vivi decks that are tuned to beat mono red, and the format is entirely mono red or blue red? Not great. I think in the top 32 it was like 2 black decks, 1 green deck, 1 white deck, and every single one of them played blue or red or both as well. So, I mean, I could harp on forever about the problems with Standard, but it's just treading old ground at the minute, where they need to change their design philosophy, but that's not going to have an impact for another 2 years because of the lag time in design.
Yeah.
They need to either reduce the amount of sets that they're releasing per year, or reduce Standard back down to 2 years if they're dead set on 6 sets a year, which I could see them putting standard back to 2 years. I can't see them reducing the amount of sets they put out because they don't care about product fatigue. They don't care
money.
about player fatigue.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all in the name of profit. And by all accounts, Spider-Man wasn't meant to be standard legal when it was initially being designed. It was meant to just be like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But they saw what happened with Assassin's Creed, which happened with every other Aftermath set or Beyond Booster, I think it was called. Whatever bullshit label they want to put on these packs that are significantly smaller and give you less cards for the exact same price.
Well, they called a mulligan on that essentially, didn't they? Like they called a mulligan on the Aftermath and stuck it in the outlet of the Thunder Junction, called it the big score. I think it's
they put it on as a bonus sheet, right?
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that they've so we've seen as of recording this, we've seen about 70 cards from Spider-Man. There's about 3 that might see fringe constructed play, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything here that's
really.
I don't really rate what we're seeing. I
haven't looked at it that deeply yet. I know that's something we're going to do for next week, but
when I'm like talking waxing lyrical about a 1/1 white pigeon that makes a food, like I think we are at the bottom feeding end of it. Like, don't get me wrong, like we've already seen the one in a red spider that gives everything riot. I think that's got some interesting usage. There was a one in a white Spider-Man, which is a flash creature that can give things indestructible. Look, there is. I'm probably not that. There's no shouldering so far, right? There's no Fable of the Mirror Breaker so far. And I know people will be there saying, "Oh, well, we never knew that when it was released." Yeah, but the spidey senses, excuse the pun, are actually not going off quite yet. But that's 3 weeks away. When we'll actually have those cards in play. That's crazy that I just said that out loud, because that is an actual factual fact.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks we'll have the cards in our hands. We'll have done our Get Your Deck Out draft, which you'll all see out on the channel, where all the people involved in the channel, we're going to have a little special draft to show everything off. I feel like one of the answers that could help is if we just had a reset sprinkled in the 6 sets a year. People will remember them as the core set. We've just seen Lorcana release one. And
I'm saying instead of one of the 6 sets, do a core set.
Do a fully factual core set. And I'm going off because obviously this week is the release of Fabled, which is Lorcana's first core set. It's their first rotation. In a design philosophy space, they've essentially said, look, this game's great. We love what we've got. There's a lot of stuff that's just going to hang around. So we've cherry picked out of that and popped it in this set. We've given you 33 new cards. And apparently at the moment, this is like out of context, going to sound crazy, but but also then they've gone and this leaned into the collector fun of like cards that were available before. You can now get like super hyped up rare versions. So like the Pokemonification. However much this is a bland feeling and a bland vibe, doesn't build the sort of perpetual hype train that you necessarily need to have. I can't help but feel like if you want your game to be thriving, you need to create a natural on-ramp for new players, and building up a core set where, like, I don't know, your Billy Basic comes in and goes, I want to start learning Lorcana, here's a core set, and I buy it, and they go in for like the 2 to 3 months of like hype, and they go, oh cool, a lot of my cards are relevant and I can play them, is certainly something that can't be overshadowed. But like, Scott, what's your thoughts on that?
It's I'll hold my hands up and say I haven't played Lorcana. I don't really have that much interest in playing it, at least right now. Obviously, if standard gets even worse, then I might look over the other side of the table at the ink blocks.
There's always a play set. There's always a play meta farm. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, the Ben Jones special of just rock up having never played the game before and just win the tournament. But yeah, I think core sets are something that Magic moved away from for a long time. And when they announced Foundations, I had people who hadn't played the game for 4, 5, 6, 7 years messaging me and going, this sounds really good. Like from an external perspective, can you like give me some more information about it? And one or two of them came back to the game around that time. A couple of them like stuck around. A couple of them had a look. Most of them just cube still, but they're aware of it. And they're like, of all the bad things that Magic has done, Foundations is a positive thing. We'll ignore the fact that most of the Foundations cards aren't actually playable in Standard because of their design philosophy with how many sets they put out every year and also how they design those sets. But again, that's the whole ground that I've trodden before. With Fabled, as far as I understand it, so you said you can get like special art versions of some of the cards in the set.
Yes, so they've there's forever been the enchanted cards, which is like your one a case like worldy pull. But there's also the the fabled version of a card now, which is a bit like, I'm not going to say it's like pulling a one ring, but it's like another higher level special art of still a playable card.
Is it more rare than enchanted or less rare?
More rare, yeah, like crazy rare.
So I'm not a huge fan of that specifically, but from my perspective, seeing Lorcana from the outside, it's something that the scalpers very much got their hands on, at least early on.
I'd agree on that.
And doing a set like Fabled, where it's mostly reprints, it's a couple of new cards here and there to keep your entrenched players like a little invested, but as you said, giving new players that on-ramp of how do I get into Lorcana, and it's, well, buy Fabled, buy starter decks, and buy some packs of Fabled, and try and build your own decks and have a look at the game, basically.
Yeah.
I had a quick Google. They have starter decks. Brilliant. That's the perfect way to do it, and make it in such a way where scalpers can't touch it. Scalpers have come into Magic. That's why we've seen such a price ballooning, especially in terms of the UB stuff, where Final Fantasy was going for $1,500 a collector booster box. Spider-Man's already at, I think, about 900. Avatar's at 700, something like that. But Edge of Eternities is at 400. In my personal opinion, 400 for Edge of Eternities is about 100% too much.
Yeah. 220, 229, something like that was what they were a year ago.
There is no reason for booster boxes to be anything more than 80, 90 quid that they were pre-COVID. And it's everything in Magic has now moved up to that premium pricing band. And I had a look at Lorcana, and I think a standard booster box is like 100 quid.
Yeah, precons are 19.99. 24.99 potentially, depending where you like. They're no more.
So 25 quid. You go out and you buy two of them, and then a couple of packs on the top to give them something to do. 65 quid. It's what you'd spend on a video game for your kids. It's what you'd spend on a board game or two, depends on the board game. But your kids come to you and they go, oh, for our birthday, we really want to get into Lorcana. It's exactly what I was like when I was a kid. I went with my older brother to my parents and went, I've watched the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Can we get a starter deck Yugi and a starter deck Joey? And my brother was 4 years older than me. He had more pocket money than me, so we ended up with starter deck Yugi and Kaiba, and I only had Joey because I'm an idiot, and I lost every single game we played, and I had a really great time. That's the starter deck experience. That's what it's meant to be. I played it for a couple of years afterwards. I have my own issues with Yu-Gi-Oh, but starter decks in particular are a really good way to do it. And if you then do it alongside a set where it's going to stay at RRP and that RRP is reasonable, then it's a perfect on-ramp for people. If you have an 11, 12, 13-year-old kid, the sort of age where they're going to start looking at card games, would you rather them go to an LGS and start getting into Lorcana and improve their critical thinking and go down the chess sort of route, or do you want them to just sit at home and vegetate in front of the telly?
Yeah,
I'm not a father, but I know what I'd prefer.
look, some of the best development post COVID. So like obviously I've got children, and obviously one of my main boy, he was of main school development age whilst COVID was happening, and a big thing that we kind of like used Magic as a crutch when sort of the world was coming back was his reading wasn't too great. But like he enjoyed the LGS experience, right? I'm not even going to say that he necessarily enjoyed Magic, but he enjoyed coming, having some snacks, sitting down and playing a game. But what Magic made you do, and all card games make you do, is make you read the card to explain the card. It's such a like such a pre-release like thing that you say. But
I learned to read as a child from playing video games and playing Pokemon.
Yeah. So like there is so much added value in getting your children into card games. I'm not necessarily going to say video games, but I'm not going to discount them either, because I think like video games,
I think they both have their place, but card games in particular are fantastic. And we've seen it as TOs. We've seen it a million times where someone's brought their kid along, their kid's maybe not been super confident or struggled with reading comprehension, something like that, and then 6 months down the line,
they're an absolute savage.
Turning up. Yeah, well, they're savage, first of all, but they're turning up, they're like patting people on the back, high-fiving people, and they're like really come out of their shell.
Yeah.
And it's because people respect them as a person, and they don't just see them as, oh, there's that kid that sits over in the corner. It's, no, come like play this game with us and like get into the atmosphere and the environment, because I know you see some horror stories online of, I went to my LGS and it smelled like poo, and there were signs up saying, please remember to wash. We're lucky that we don't really have that experience in Firestorm, in our local game store. I know a couple of people do. I've been to game stores where I've had that experience, but if you can avoid that and you get like a good LGS, there's a good crowd, it's a place that I'd love to take a child if I were to have one.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes to the have your high level of gameplay, and you know also what, like maybe the Spotlight series this weekend is how it should be at the top tier of the game. Maybe, right? But what you need to do is you need to create a front door. You need to like have the bottom end. Like, and just myself for video ideas, recently been looking at Pokemon, right? And been going like, should I get back into Pokemon? See like how much in like 100 days I can achieve from
how much of an on-ramp there is.
Yeah, from scratch can I like win a local? So how many days is it going to take me? And how much is it going to cost me? And like, so one of the top decks in Pokemon is like the Gardevoir shell, and there's been precons of Gardevoir, and like it's currently live in standard. The precon that's available is not all standard legal because it's like a year later and they've had their rotation, but the core cards are in it. And I priced out that I could just get a Lorcana deck, a Pokemon deck to play for about 50 quid, and it's like tier one worlds.
How much is one Vivi?
50 quid. And so if we don't get that starting culture back in, I think that's going to be where the trouble is. And it's a bit of a segue onto a couple of sets away. There has
something that I'm actually excited about. Holy shit.
When we do go back to Lauren, there has been listed. So just for the pod, this is, I will obviously they'll put a little pop up. This is unconfirmed,
not financial advice.
This is not leaked from the news source. So Blake, please don't get a heart attack. Nobody's told us. We're just going off what the internet says. The stores have said too early. They've posted, and I'll say, although I'm saying this, these are genuinely usually correct. When stores have like a listing ready for the next set and they just post it, it's because someone's fucked up, right? Like the
last time we saw it was like the foil Modern Horizons Commander decks, right? Or something to do with, I think it was like Spider-Man not having Commander decks, and then it came out that they don't have Commander decks, and everyone was like, "Yeah, we already knew that. Cheers, mate."
Yeah. So the listings show that there's a planned 60 card list, pre-constructed deck priced at $24, due to be released with Lauren. So that's all we've got. We do also know that there's 2 commander decks in that listed as well. So we know this isn't a falsity that they've accidentally thought they were commander decks.
Yeah.
So we sort of seen this before, 60 card decks. There was the Challenger decks back in 2022
that were really popular and really flew off shelves everywhere and
really started getting people back into instant playability, which is all you need, right? All you need is to have a deck where you go, oh, cool, I played 4 best out of 3s. I won 1 game in all of my best out of 3s because my deck did the thing because I drew the 1-ofs they gave me. I'm now going to go buy some more. But
yeah,
there's 2 possibilities though. We'll talk about we could have a little bit of a talk here about the both angles this could go in. This could be a new wave of constructed precons that we see often. Wonder where that goes. But it could also be a lead into a return for Pioneer, which again, we all assume they're not going to kill it off completely. And if they are going to bring it back, there's this window of the April RCQ season that we don't know yet about is the one that if they're going to bring it back, I can imagine it's a good time to do it. So is this going to be even worth doing, Scott? What do you think?
I'm nervous because of their track record over the last 12 months with products. In fact, more than 12 months. I think everything that Billy Jensen's been doing since he joined has been really, really good, like reviving the Pro Tour and Spotlight Series and all of that stuff. We haven't really seen an improvement in promos. We'll hold that as the sword of Damocles for a bit. I already said, give us precons, give us challenger decks, whether that be for modern, Pioneer, standard, it doesn't matter. We've had people ask us, oh, we want to play standard. Can we just turn up and buy a deck? And obviously that's with the aim of, I'm going to buy a deck, play that, see if I like it, and then if I like it, I'll go home and improve it. Because they have the wherewithal to know that you're not going to get tier 1 just straight out the box and just be smashing everyone in half. And no one thinks that. Challenger decks for Pioneer, I think they were done okay.
Yeah, well,
probably the way I'd say it.
They created that vibe. They created the ability to say I'll
just turn up and buy a deck.
Yeah, and we did a little promotion in the LGS at the time where it was if you buy a deck today, you can just play for free because it was go on, crack on, get involved, and it wasn't the staple on ramp, but it basically helped us be able to have something to go, oh, my mate wants to come, how much is it going to cost him?
How much is a challenger deck? And it's well, just come and grab a challenger deck. It's 25 quid. We'll let you play for free, see if he likes it.
Yeah. At 25 quid, it's probably still debatable what we'll get. I think I did a little bit of pre-con math based upon what we give commander players based on market value. On the average value, so I went back and I took up the Universes Beyond. On the average value of the last 12 commander decks, which are retailing at £44 UK, the average reprint value was £91 in those decks,
so it's pretty good, and it's always been pretty good, even ever since the first couple of commander precons. They've had a couple of misses. Obviously, when you make as many products as Wizards do, you're going to have some misses, but they've had also some sets where you could have bought it for £44, sold 1 card out of it, and then the rest of the deck is entirely profit. So if they're doing that with challenger decks, first of all, you need to print enough of them.
Yes.
Don't do what you did the last time where you just ran out of the Phoenix one in
days.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Do them for all the formats, all RCQ formats, man. Do them for standard, do them for Pioneer, do them for modern. I feel like these ones are going to be standard. That's a hunch.
At this price, you'd think so, right?
Yeah, because they're 20, 25 quid or something, aren't they?
Yeah, 20. So basically 24, I guess it's been priced at $24.99, which we'll always see translate to pounds.
£25.
Yeah. So
because That's how
it works.
Screwed. I know Canada and Australia have it just as bad. South America has it 70 million times worse than we do. But if they give us what, $50-$60 worth of value, but you need what, 1 or 2 shocklands, a starting town in all of them.
Yeah.
It is, you're kind of doing what I asked for last week, where I was like, why can't we just buy a standard starter set where it's 2 starting towns, 1 of each shockland, 1 of each verge, 1 of each surveyor land, charge £100 for it, which that's a lot of money to make just for printing. What is that? 32 cards.
Well, the cardboard doesn't cost any more money to print. That. Like, we always end up in this quandary of, oh, bless them. Like, does it matter if they? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Their reprint equity when they're putting out 6 sets every year. Just make us another secret lair. Make another 2 million quid.
Do you know what goes away though if that happens? Is we stop crying about promos because we've all got the cards to play. Like. We'll just take gifts. We'll just take the Ninja air fryers if that's the case.
Give us the promos to give the people that want cool versions of it.
Yeah.
The cool versions. If I want to go out and buy a secret lair, that is my prerogative. I have consented to that, and I have said I'm willing to spend £20 a counter spell, knowing that I can pick them up for 50p elsewhere. That's my choice to do that. Do the Final Fantasy thing. Do the Pokemon thing. But the base version of the card is £1. And then if I want to go out and buy the fancy one where it's a foil Tifa where she's got her boobs out, it's £80.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Do that. And if people want to go out and buy the alt arts, then let them do it. Yeah. And then you get to see the old school, like when someone turned up with a fully foil blue-white control deck and you knew that you were just going to hate your life for the next 35 minutes because it was going to take that long for game 1, win or lose. But back then, seeing a foil card was special. And it was, oh, wow, like you've got expeditions, you've got masterpieces. And now my opponent will play a card. And I've been playing this game for a long time and I've played it a hell of a lot. And more than once, someone, I think it was, there was a Shoot the Sheriff played on camera. And I was sitting there looking at my TV and I was like,
what the hell is that?
Yeah. I don't know what that card is. And they played it and it was like on the stack for a bit. And then I think it was the match with Dana Fisher in the first round of day 2. And then the Mossball Hydra went to the graveyard. I was like, it's a removal spell then, I assume. I think that says the Shoot the Sheriff, maybe. Is Mossborn Hydra an outlaw? Who knows?
Well, like, considerations, I guess, about what to come. We probably think the note is, like, constructed decks tend to be spotlight card. There's in the past, we've seen 1 to maybe 2 mythics, 1 to 2, or maybe up to about 4 rays. I guess if we're in a world where shocklands are going to be a thing now, I'd like them to print them with 2 shocklands. They could have probably
1 or 2, depending on what else they give. Right, if they're giving 2 verges and a starting town, then 1 shockland's fine.
Yeah, if you give 1 shockland, 1 verge, or 1 shockland, 1 starting town, I think that's fantastic value. And I think that's what we'd like you all to do at home. I think let's build them. So we got a period. Obviously, we're going to talk Spider-Man next week. The big thing's going to be let's build a constructed deck. So we're just going to go away. We're going to look at Spider-Man. Even if you want to build it with some avatar cards that have been released, we're cool with that because,
hey, I'm building the deck with Appa.
Perpetual hype and all that. We'll give you credit for market value of a spell that's currently like £4 in Avatar should probably be about $1, but like we'll figure that out if you interact with us in the chats. Build it with $60 worth of value. We'll go with dollars because currency conversion.
Use like TCG Player Low or whatever, like what you could physically buy the cards for,
and then use no more than 2 mythics, no more than 2 utility lands. So we'll call those shock lands or shock or verge or starting town. No more than 4.
You can sneak a Soulstone Sanctuary and a Restless Land in there as well.
We'll let you have that. And then 4 rays, no more than 4 rays. So we'll post this formally. in like the competition elements, and this is what we're going to give our play points on Magic Online away this week, this month. We will give all of them to whoever wins this, because that's a big effort. So that's a
lot of points as well.
So that's 600 play points. If you bag them all, actually, maybe let's give 480 to first, and let's give a runner up like 120. So, but also all the notable mentions will get themselves. So get your deco stickers. Anyone who's willing to give us your address, we do have them now.
Holy shit, merch!
We do have some of the what we're going to call the first edition sticker runs that will be given out across if you see us at any events or something over the next few months. For
they're going to be
have.
Collectible, so keep hold of them
because they're the ones with the bad art for socials on them and stuff. So when we do the real good ones, you want to be a proper OG. But yeah, interact with that. We want to talk about them, see what you think. Maybe put some ideas for future people in the chat. Like, don't necessarily go spicy build, is what we're saying. Go new player on ramp friendly, right?
Yeah, have a look at how you could build Dimir as a precon. You could put a Tashana's Tidebinder and a Kaito and an Enduring Curiosity, one Watery Grave, one Gloom Lake Verge, a Soulstone Sanctuary, and then try and fill the rest out. But Flood Pit's Drowner, it's a bit of a pain to get hold of. It's not an expensive card.
That's very true.
Spyglass Siren, full play set of them. Shoot the Sheriff, as many as you want. Tragic Trajectory, go nuts.
Yeah.
It's harder to do than I've made it sound just there, because you really need to pick what your rares are.
Yeah.
And you need it to be functional out the box.
Yeah, you need to be functional out the box. Please make it a good deck for us to talk about. Don't not submit it if it's $61, right? Just use that as around your baseline. If you get it to about
if it's 65, we'll let you get away with it.
If you submit $65, but you do a really cool Instagram post and you tag us everywhere, you're good, right? But if you submit 61 and you've done a text only version in the YouTube chat, then less good value for you. But let's have a bit of fun with this. Let's have a check what we can do, because I think it's worth saying, Scott, have had about a month now of talking about Vivi's not doing good things to the format. Give us more things to play with. This is more things to play with. Like we said earlier, everything's on a time lag. So what we're on now is the 2 years ago, Mr. Gents himself coming in, starting to have influence, starting to change things, coming to fruition now. I still think
needs to carry on.
Needs to continue,
but
yeah,
has done some good work.
We're in a bit of a hangover here at the moment, aren't we? Of play designs not necessarily matched up with timelines of things and how to play.
It's gonna get worse as well, pal.
It's gonna get worse.
Okay, here we go. You're very invested in Standard. How many sets are in Standard currently?
Shit.
Off the top of your head. Don't Google it.
40.
I see you trying to cheat. How sure are you?
Not.
Right. First of all, the fact that you're not sure is ridiculous. Second of all, the fact that it's 12 is ridiculous. Right. When's the next rotation?
Oh, the worst thing about this is it's year January.
So January 2027?
Yes.
Okay, correct. How many sets are rotating?
Only 4.
7. Do you want to know how many sets are going to be in Standard by the time we get there, if they keep doing 6 sets a year?
It'll be like 17.
And the rest.
More!
So by the end of this year, it's going to be 14.
So add another 6 and take away
20 sets.
So
and one of those is Foundations.
So remembering the fact that we used to go into post rotation with 6 sets. So we used to call it 6 set Standard, right? So and I used to be kind of like very well polarized for there is a specific best thing to do, completely refresh.
20 sets.
We're playing Pioneer
with the modern design philosophy of I don't blame the designers for what it's worth, and normally I'm full of praise for them, as people who've listened to the podcast before well know. I'm normally full of praise for the designers of Magic. They have an impossible job and they do a phenomenal job at it. And whenever they design a set, they want their set to get over. They want their set to be popular and do well, because then they get to design more, because it's the greatest game in the world and you want to design more cards for it. And the people who work in WotC really care about this game, and you can tell they do.
Yeah.
You need your set to stand out as one of 6. Mm-hmm. And it's within a block. So half your keywords were already decided for you. You find new ways to innovate, and you find a new way to do something, preferably not by just adding mega to the front of morph, but you find new ways to do something, or new ways for a thing to matter, and you make some really beloved cards that people really care about. Or you need to stand out as one of 20.
That's incredible. Honestly, I've just had a little bit of a more realization that we don't even play a standard format anymore. We just play a big format. Like, this is like...
It's bigger than extended used to be.
Yeah. And that's where...
Type 1.5 for my old heads.
And that's why, like, 2 year... We can live with 6 sets if everything that...
If standard is 2 years.
It's standard is 2 years.
It's a really big standard. It's a really heavy standard. But if you absolutely must release 6 sets a year, if that's what Daddy Hasbro is saying you have to do because you're the last flames of the dying star that is Hasbro, and you're floating the entire company, which is what they seem to be doing. Every single earnings call is pointing to Hasbro is going and WotC is making more money hand over fist every single set. Which also, by the way, for all you UB and Horizons haters out there, I have my own opinions. I'm sure we'll get to them when it's a slow news week, but they're never going to stop doing it, because Final Fantasy broke the record that Lord of the Rings set in 6 months. Final Fantasy broke it in days. This is.
I'm
not going to stop.
This is our game now. Mm-hmm. We play the game that transcends the universe, and that is that.
And we make do, and we make our peace with it, because it's a really good game platform. And yeah, fair enough, you have to play with Gwen Stacy as Venom or whatever. But if you just look at it as a skin for the card, then in my opinion, you can get past it. But that's my own personal line compared to what other people deem as their line. That's fine. If you want to stop playing, that's fine. That's your prerogative. Make sure to don't sell all your cards, but sell the more expensive ones.
Yeah, no, for sure. But lots of thoughts this week about like the way the game's going. I still feel hopeful, despite the fact that Vivi Summer has given us all a little bit of a rash. We got some tournaments up ahead. RCQ weekend for me. Scott will be taking a bit of a break. Hopefully Monday we'll be talking about my successes or my failures. Please come back.
I'm hopefully buying a house this year for the listeners that care about why I've not been going to RCQs with you, and unfortunately why I may have to miss Liverpool, but I'll be cheering you on from the sidelines. I'll be your Mr. Miyagi sitting at home.
Scott's been doing adult things with adult money, where I've been doing kid things with adult money. So like, but
he'll ignore the fact that I've got 4 starting towns next to me that I've just bought. But we'll ignore that.
He'll be back on the saddle as soon as he can, getting his deck out with us at all of these events. Please keep an eye out. We'll do a little post on the Instagram for the giveaway. But we'll just want you to get your decks out for us, your pre-cons, based on our sort of guidance, so that we can have a look, get it out there. Even if you just want a sticker, give it a go, right? Because as long as you're happy to give me your address or see me in person, I'll give you a sticker, because we enjoy getting our deck out. It's what keeps us alive, keeps us thriving. Hopefully we'll be able to do it a little bit cheaper in the coming months if pre-cons become alive. Thanks for being with us. See you on the next one. And don't forget to get your deck out. Yeah.
Filthy.
Get your pre-con out. Oh,
I think it's because it's like an inch away from pre-cum.
do you just live for the end of podcast bits?